Hello and welcome to our video on utilizing the condition screen in Byte Pro Enterprise 7.0. In this video, we'll show you how to navigate the condition screen as well as explain all of its functionality. Okay, let's open up Byte Pro Enterprise and take a look at the condition screen. So here we are on the condition screen in Byte Pro Enterprise 7.0. First thing that you're going to notice are the different stages. These are different stages under which you can place conditions, and they're basically just different stages in the loan process. We've got prior to docs, prior to funding, prior to purchase, post-funding, trailing, and suspense, and you can add conditions under these different headings according to the conditions class, which we'll cover later. There's 4 different ways that you can add a condition, and that's these buttons up here along the top. You can add conditions from templates, and these are templates that your administrator can create for most of your standard conditions that you're going to use from time to time. We'll go into greater depth on that here in a minute. You can add ad hoc conditions or one-off conditions for those unique circumstances that come up. And you can also add LP and DU conditions directly from your LP and DU findings in your stored documents folder. Let's start off with creating an ad hoc condition because this is a good way to introduce you to our conditions editor. So when you click on the button, you'll see that the different condition classes pop up. These condition classes can be customized. You can create more custom classes, or you can take them away so that you just have underwriting. And basically what the classes do is they control under which stages you can place a condition. So if you had put the class of a post condition on here, you're going to make it so that you can only put that in the post-funding stage. And you can control that, and we show you how to do that in the customization video. So let's say we're going to create an underwriting condition. And this opens up our condition editor. You start off in the description field, and all this red arrow over here tells you is that you need to enter a description. So let's call our condition now. Let's say we need a letter of explanation for an overdraft on account number 5555. There we go. Now you've got your description of the condition. Let's go over to the right-hand side here, and you can see the different attributes of this condition. Once again, here's those condition classes that we talked about. It'll default to underwriting because that's what we called it, but if you need to change it later, you can change it here as well, the condition class. Condition types. This is another customizable field. It comes with these preset ones, but you can customize these. You can remove them, create new ones, whatever you want. Your administrator has that ability. So since we're talking about an overdraft, more likely we're talking about on our bank statement, so this is going to be an asset. It's condition, so let's put it in here in the asset. It's auto-numbered. Once again, can be controlled and set up in your defaults. And the stage that it's going to go under, since this is an underwriting condition, we've given you the ability to put it under any stage. So we're going to say that it's prior to docs. But just as an example, let's say that this was we changed the class to post. You're going to get a red arrow, and it's going to say that the selected stage is not allowed for post. I've got it set up so that if the class is post, you can only put it under the post-funding stage, and there you go. It takes it away, and it'll let me do that. Let's change it back to underwriting and put it in here to prior to docs. You can assign the responsibility. Who's responsible for collecting this condition? You can change this drop-down list and add different parties to this list. Once again, we show you how to do that in our customization video. For this example, let's just say that it's our loan processor's job. Follow flags. You can attach follow flags to individual conditions, and you can customize these flags as well. We'll show you how to do that in the customization video. You can also mark this condition as internal. Well, an internal condition is just what it sounds like. It's just for your internal use only. It's not going to go out to a lender. It's not going to go out to the borrower or anything like that. And basically, any time that you mark a condition as internal, that means it will not show up on any of the documents that we create out of the conditions screen. It will be for your internal use only. We also have separate object permissions that control who can view internal conditions and who cannot view internal conditions. And we show you how to do that in the customization video as well. Down here we put in an exception area. Basically, if you click on the exception request box and mark the exception requested, it will enter the current date as well as who it is that is clicking the box. We've got a status field, approved by lender or investor, or denied by lender or investor, which you can fill in as well. Over here on the left side, you've got your various dates as well as stages of your condition. click on this box, it works the same way as the exception requested box. Say if it's requested, you click on that, mark it as requested. It's going to give you the current date as well as who it was that clicked on the box. The other option that you have over here is to create a task for this condition. When you do that, it's going to take you to the task editor, and you can create your task specific to that condition. You also have the ability to set up BytePro so that it will automatically create tasks for conditions as well, and we covered that in our Task for Conditions video. You can establish a follow-up date. Let's say that we want to follow up a week from now. Go ahead and click it. Now your follow-up date is set, and what this will do is it'll create an alert that shows up on your pipeline view as well as shows up in your alert screen. We also have a notes section down here at the bottom. These notes are specific to the individual conditions. So what you can do is click on that, type in your notes, say borrower has history of overdrafts, so need LOE. Here, there you go. Now it'll show once I close out of this editor and I come back and look at this later, it'll show that I entered this comment on such and such a date, and others can add comments in here as well. So it's basically a way to have a running log of comments on this specific condition. Another button you've got right here is Add Documents folder, and what this allows you to do is add documents from your stored documents folder or to import them directly to and associate them with this condition. So let's say I want to import a new document. That'll take you through the document storage procedure completely. Or let's say I've already imported it into my stored documents folder and I just want to link it. You can click on that down here, and what it will do is bring up a drop down of all of the documents that I have in my stored documents folder. Pick the document that you want to associate, press OK. It'll give you a reminder. Do you want to view that document? Click on yes, and there you go. There's your document. And now shows it as associated with that condition. Let's say if later down the road you want to remove this document from here, you no longer want it associated with this condition, what you can do is click on the View Documents button, view the document, open up the viewer again, over here to where it says Condition, put it to None, and now you see it's no longer associated with this condition. Okay. That's the condition editor. Now let's move on. We'll close out of that, and there you go. You see our condition has now been created. Shows that our request has already been done, and there you go. Now let's move on to using the templates. We click on the Add a Condition from a Template. What you're going to see is a list of all of our condition templates that have been created. These buttons up at the top are basically organization buttons. The standard and all buttons are always going to be here, but the ones in between can be customized, once again, by your administrator, and we cover how to do that in the customization video. This is basically just a way to organize your conditions. Let's say you're working on the income for a file, and you only want to see income conditions. Click on Income. There you go. We only get the conditions that are designated as income, and when you're creating custom condition templates, you can designate that section right here. So let's go back. Let's say we want to look at all of our conditions. And let's go to our property conditions for a second. One thing you'll notice here is I've actually created other templates that cover condo certification, homeowners association certification, and things like that. You notice that there's absolutely nothing here in these conditions that refer to that. Why that is this example file that I'm using is listed as a single family residence. I've created custom filters that actually remove those conditions that do not apply to this. So since this is a single family residence, I don't need condo certifications or anything like that. So those conditions do not show up here. You can create custom filters that will remove certain conditions according to any of the fields within BytePro. Let's say you don't want a condition for tax returns unless the borrower is self-employed. You can create that filter. Once again, we cover how to do that in our customization section. Very handy feature, makes it very easy to organize your conditions as well as get rid of those conditions that don't necessarily apply to your loan. One big way that you're going to use that is, let's say you create a filter for the type of loan. So that means, let's say you're doing a conventional loan, you don't want any FHA conditions to show up, and vice versa. You got an FHA loan, you don't want to have to wade through a bunch of conventional conditions that are not going to apply to the loan. You could set up filters that take care of all of that, and we cover how to do that in your customization section. All right, let's add a few of these conditions. Let's say we're going to need a credit update. Payoff statement 4, you can see that this one's left open-ended. We'll show you how to fill that in here in a second. We're going to want a pay stub. We're going to want a VOE within 48 hours of closing. We're going to want an appraisal. And we're going to want a flood cert. There's enough. So we've chosen the conditions that we want to add. Click on OK. It'll give us a list of the conditions that we're adding to this loan. Press OK, and there you go. Your conditions have all shown up. Now, which stage they appear under is going to depend on their conditions class, as well as the default that we create when you can create the conditions template. As you can see, all of these came up under prior to docs because that's the way I have them set up, except for this one, which was our pre-closing VOE within 48 hours of closing. It's going to be a prior to funding condition, so I have it set to default right there. You can set all of that up in the customization section. Now that we've got all of our conditions in the screen, there's some other functions that we'll look at. You can see that there are action buttons over here to the side of the different stages of the condition. Basically what this is another way for you to mark the loan as requested. It'll put in current date as well as who it is that's doing the requesting. You can also create a task right from this button as well. You can create task, it'll take you to the task menu and you can create your tasks. Another handy function while you're on the main conditions screen is the ability to attach documents from here as well. As you can see, I've got my stored documents folder opened up over here on the overview panel, and I've got a condition for a current pay stub. What I can do is I've got some pay stubs here. I can take this pay stub and just drag it over and drop it in. And there you go, my pay stub is now attached. That folder shows that I have a document attached. I click on it, opens up my document, and there's my pay stub. You can attach multiple documents at a time if you'd like as well. Select two more here, two more pay stubs, and put them on there. Ask, do I want to attach those to this condition? Yes and yes. Now when I click on here, it'll give me a list of all 3 documents that I've got attached. I can choose any one of them and view it. So just another quick and handy way to attach documents to specific conditions. Also remember we had our open-ended condition up here, payoff statement 4. When you open that up, it'll open you up into our conditions editor again. You can click on here and you can finish this off. Payoff statement 4, let's call it Bite Bank account number 1234. And there you go. Click on that and now you see you've filled in the rest of that condition. You can control how your templates are, whether they're editable or not. Your administrator has that function in their customization abilities. So something like a current pay stub, as you'll see, we open that one up. It's not editable. It's just always going to be that way. And once again, like I said, you can control how those are set up. Another thing that we want to look at is when you go to print from the main screen. When you print from this main screen, once you've got your conditions added, it will print to your conditional loan approval document. Now, you can change the title of this. We leave this open and give your administrator the ability to change this title. You can call it whatever you'd like. Call it your conditions list, call it your pre-approval list, whatever you want to call it. We give you that ability to change that. What this has got on it is your space for your lender information here, parties involved with the loans, like your loan officer, processor, underwriter, subject property, your borrowers, type of loan, rate, everything along those lines, your numbers and your LTVs right here. And then it gives you a list of your conditions. And it'll show you whether they've been cleared or not as well. So if you're using this as like a status update form, you can do it as well to show you which conditions have been cleared. Now you notice that there's only 4 conditions showing on here, whereas we had more than that on our condition screen. Why that is any conditions that are marked as internal, which is these 1, 2, 3 that we've got here, are not going to show up on there. So those are going to be for your internal use only, not something outside of your own process. And we also give you down at the bottom of this, we give you the ability to add a signature line if you would like, or you can remove that as well. This has been an introduction to our conditions screen. If you have additional questions, you can always click on our help link up at the top and go to our help guide and check out the conditions section. Or you can go down to technical support and click on here, and you'll find the phone number for our technical support department, as well as a link to our technical support inbox. And always be sure and include your user number whenever you call or email so we can expedite your service. Thank you again for your time, and thank you for using Byte Pro.